Hey everybody, in this video I sit down with Hudson Archer of Archer's Detailing out in Austin, Texas. He's a 17-year-old kid. He's been doing this for a couple years. His best month's $25,000 a month and he's working his way to 50K per month. Super impressive story. We talk all things detailing, how he gets his customers, how he started, how he grew, what he's doing for hiring, all kinds of stuff, marketing. Really good interview, but let's get into it now. You'll notice at the end, it kind of cuts off. It's because my computer ran out of memory, so it just stopped recording. But it basically was just us saying, bye and good interview and stuff like that. But yeah, let's jump into it. So yeah, tell me, how'd you start? How old are you? You're young.
17.
17?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Wow, dude, yeah.
Yeah. So I started when I was 15. It was the summer of 2022. And the whole thought process was friends of mine were getting regular jobs, right? And the lucky ones were making $15 an hour. Everybody else was making, 10, 11, 12, whatever, doing whatever job. And I thought, surely there's got to be a way to make the same amount of money that they're making, a few $100s per week with less work. I wasn't looking for a full-time job. I didn't want a full-time job. So I was just looking around at side hustles that you could start with less than $500. And of course, if you Google that, one of the top things that's going to pop up is going to be mobile car detailing. So I start, and my mom, I didn't even have a driver's license at the time. Mom had to drop me off to customers' houses. And
Wow.
obviously you do the initial round of friends, family, people at church, people that you know. And then after that, I had exhausted my client list from people that I already knew. And I was like, man, where do I find customers? So I started diving into the world of digital marketing. And that's when I discovered SEO, search engine optimization, Google ads, discovered really that marketing yourself online is the best way to go, especially as a physical service-based business, because everybody else is still stuck with traditional marketing, doing flyers, that sort of thing. So just by being on the internet, you end up having a leg up on the rest of your competition. And I initially had tried the flyer method. I ordered 2,000 flyers off of Vistaprint that same summer, passed all 2,000 out over the span of a couple weeks, going door to door at the neighborhood or at a parking lot at a local grocery store. And I got maybe 3 or 4 calls, no one booked. Right.
Mm.
So that was just a wake up call of hundreds of dollars on flyers, days of my time, a lot of frustration, realizing, dang, there's got to be a better way to do it. And then once I finally dialed in the marketing, that's when stuff took off. I bought my first company van in March of last year, wrapped it in April, built it out in June. And then in September, I bought and wrapped number 2 and recently built it out for the winter. So yeah, now we're scaling to have, I had 2 company trucks running this time. Well, September through November, I had both company trucks running full schedule. And then the winter hit us not too hard. We were still fully booked with one schedule and then part-time schedule on the other one. And then we're ramping back up to be at hopefully 50,000 per month come this summer with 2 company trucks. So that's brief backstory on me.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's weird. I started with the flyers too. That was like the first thing I ever tried.
Yeah.
Um, and I just, passed around my neighborhood on mailboxes, which I think is illegal to put things on mailboxes, but I did it back then. And
Yeah.
I got like 4 or 5 people that just texted me and booked. That's how I got my first people. So I probably got lucky. I didn't even pass out 2,000 either. I probably passed out like 200 max.
All right. You got lucky. You got
Yeah.
very lucky. Or
And
my
then
flyers sucked.
eventually I just kind of stopped doing that because it's, I don't want to go out there and there's better ways to market.
Yeah.
But Austin, Texas, how's the detailing market there? I know it's a big city. Birmingham, we've got
Crazy.
like a little over 1 million people. Um,
Austin is wild. So I
yeah.
don't know the exact numbers, but the area that we service is just north of Austin. So there's a couple suburbs: Cedar Park, Leander, Round Rock, Georgetown, Lago Vista. Those are the primary suburbs in the area. And just Leander and Cedar Park alone, which are 2 of the largest suburbs surrounding Austin, just the 2 of them, there's close to 1 million people in those suburbs alone. Austin's metro downtown is just around 1 million. So we don't even service downtown Austin. We're just north of, and these suburbs are wild. Average income in this area is also fairly high, so that helps quite a bit. It's one of the wealthier parts of Austin. But I've told this advice to a lot of detailers that are getting started. Even if you're not in the wealthiest area of town, figure out what the wealthiest area of town is and make the drive. Like
Yeah.
if it's 30 minutes out, 40 minutes out, that's where you're going to have better luck with customers. And it's so much better to service the right kind of people too. You don't want to deal with, I've gone out to bad parts of town. You don't want to deal with that on a regular basis.
Yeah. I say the same thing to people who ask. Also, they're normally just kind of harder customers too.
Always.
Um, So what do you do to market now? What was the switch you made from, the flyers that didn't work? And then clearly you flipped a switch because you're aiming for 50K a month now. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Hey, sorry for interrupting the video. Just want to take a quick second to tell you all about this free 90-minute masterclass we have for beginner detailers making under $10,000 per month in their business. In it, I give you 5 free marketing tactics, free social media posts, 30% off an online booking software, and a lot of other free giveaways. If you're interested and you want to grow your business, start taking it seriously, you can use these marketing tactics to make thousands of dollars per month for free. You can check it out. The link to it's in our bio, in the description of this video. You can find it pretty much on all our social medias. But yeah, go check it out now, and now we'll get back to the video.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, it was flyers. It was just trial and error. Stuff was not working. And then I watched a show called Undercover Billionaire. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I did that's Grant Cardone and
Yeah, it
yeah.
was. Yeah.
I was already
So
following Grant Cardone. I'm actually invested with his like fund. He does like the non-accredited investor fund. So I'm
yeah.
invested there. So I've been following Grant for a while. And then I didn't watch it when it first came out. I waited till it was like on what was it on, like ABC or something? I watched
Discovery Channel Plus or something. That's where I saw it as well. Their streaming software. Yeah. So I didn't know who Grant Cardone was at the time. I'd heard the name, but I never knew who he was. And I watched the show at the end of 2022. I was fresh off of breaking up with a girl, and I was like, man, what am I going to do? I've got this business that's basically just a side hustle for me. So I went all in. I binge watched the whole show for about a week. It took me a week to get through it. And it wasn't Grant Cardone. It was one of the other ladies that was on the show that basically explained how you could trade a percentage of your business early on before you have a whole lot of revenue coming in for goods and services. So I reached out to a family friend that we knew that did SEO services, and they're from Roswell, New Mexico. And it's a small town. They're not a very big SEO company, but it was just a side business for them. So I said, hey, I'm making a few hundred per month right now, but hopefully if you believe in me, you think I can and do quite well. Could you guys do some SEO work for me? And I'll give you 10% of everything that I make so long as we're working together. And they agreed. So that flipped the switch initially. That's when it was like, okay, $2,000-$3,000 per month. Now I have something to actually work with. But as a whole, they were okay. I'm now with a different company, a much larger company. Now I'm paying $1,500 per month on SEO, but the premise is still the same. It's start somewhere, get the ball rolling. And for me, it was with asking friends that we knew of the family, to help with SEO services. But even then, SEO is going to get general exposure on Google. But if your website itself is not dialed in terms of its presentation, you're not going to get customers, right? So you could have the most beautiful area of town where you have your store, but it's cluttered. The door is falling off. The windows are boarded up. People aren't going to walk in. It doesn't matter if it's, right downtown in the center where everybody's running around. If it looks bad, nobody's walking in your storefront. So that's the approach that I took to my website. So they worked on the back end trying to get the website built up to where Google was showing it in front of people whenever they search for detailing services. But then I just got so obsessed with the presentation of the website, with how do I design it in such a way where it's super easy for people to go from point A, which is clicking the site, to point B, which is booking. And I obsessed over that for about 8 months, and I just watched revenue and calls go up, up, up from that point. SEO put us on the first page, and by the time I was on the first page, we were at maybe 8 to 10,000 a month. And being in the same standing on Google in an 8-month period, I over doubled that revenue just by the presentation of the website, even though it was still ranking the same. So that's something that people neglect all the time. Like, I'm going to hire an SEO company. Well, you can do that, but presentation is everything. So if you can learn design and also sales. Sales is a big part of it too. And implement that into your website. It's going to help a lot. So yeah, that was the Kickstarter for me.
Nice. So the company did SEO and redesigned your website?
I did all the design. I did
Oh,
design.
okay. You did your
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, and you can hire somebody for it, but my general guidelines for folks that ask is don't be afraid to delegate, don't be afraid to hire, but have a basic understanding of the things that you're hiring out. That way you can, sniff out if something's not right, or maybe you've got better direction for your company than somebody else, right? So, yeah.
Awesome, dude. Yeah. So in terms of breakdown, so you have 2 guys working for you?
One right now. I just let one go last week. Yeah.
Yeah. Hiring is tough.
It's very tough. It's the hardest piece of the puzzle right now.
It is. I found that too. I mean, like I said, I hired my first, it was actually a girl, was my first hire right out of college. And since then, I mean, I've probably been through 10, maybe a little bit more people.
Yeah.
Ranging from, I mean, one guy stayed with me for like over a year. He was awesome. And then ranging from like days,
Yeah.
it's tough to find good people, or not good, reliable is really the word I would use. More
Yeah.
reliable. So I'll go into that in a minute, but break down. So where are you now? You said you're at 25K a month.
So 25,000 per month was the highest that we hit. That was the end of summer, start of fall last year. Now we're sitting just below 20,000.
Okay. So what's your plan to go from 20 to 50?
Hiring. It's unlocking that. So last summer was my first round of hiring, and it made me realize something. There is a reason why most detailers are solo or are solo with help, right? They've got part-time help. It's very rare to find somebody that's been able to successfully duplicate themselves into somebody that's working for an hourly rate. So the biggest key for me lately has been looking in slightly better places. Homeschool kids are a great place to look. Kids that are fresh out of being homeschooled, that are not interested in going to college, or they're taking a gap year, that sort of thing. So that's who I'm working with right now. This kid's homeschooled. But beyond that, it's building out systems to where your employee doesn't have to be you. The biggest pitfall for us to fall in as entrepreneurs, especially detailers, is we want them to be just as good as us in all areas, just as good of a detailer. The quality of the work's the same. They're just as good at upselling the customer. They're just as good at customer service if something goes wrong. We want them to just be a duplicate of us. And you can't expect that for an hourly rate. They're not making as much as you. And a lot of times entrepreneurs end up putting in way more work for less money than somebody with a regular job. So an issue that I had last year was I was expecting a lot out of my employees, and they just weren't interested in thinking about work when they got home. I would try to say, hey, we need to figure out a better way to upsell a decontamination service, a headlight restoration. Let's upsell these things. They'll make more money. I'll give you commission. And I would ask them, hey, go home and, think about how we can do that. They're not going to do that. There were a lot of things that I learned last summer through the hiring process that it took a massive downturn in my business to really slap me in the face and realize, okay, not everybody's going to be like me. And that was October of last year. I hit a pretty hard wall with employees. I had 2 guys quit in the same week. So I had 2 at the time. My whole workforce quit. I had 25,000 a month worth of jobs. And there was only one of me. So 2 vans fully booked, doing ceramic, like everything. And I was like, oh, dang, I've got to work overtime in order to supply these needs, or I have to dial back how many customers I'm taking in. So I actually chose to dial back the customers from November to December of last year. So I chose to just take 2 months to work. I was working part-time, still making over 10K a month at the time. So I raised my prices and turned down some customers, was booked out for a couple weeks. And that gave me time to really sit down and think about, how can I build out systems in a way where it's easier for people to do the job? And it goes beyond training manuals and here's how to detail. It is like the biggest game changer for me with the most recent set of hires that I've had is initially I expected the employees to show up and understand how long a job was going to take, understand, okay, there's pet hair, you got to charge X amount for that, or there's stains, kids have thrown Cheerios everywhere. And I expected them to be able to quote the customer on site and be efficient at the same time. So now we've got a system with an iPad where they have a checklist, right? They go through and they say, I see pet hair here. I see a kid's mess here. I see that you've got stains. They check different boxes off. And then we use Your Able for all of our bookings. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but yeah, it's phenomenal. So they'll go through the checklist and then they'll take pictures of the areas that they had to check off. So they'll take pictures of the pet hair, they'll take pictures of all that. And then they'll submit it to the office, which right now is me, and I'll be the one to make the call on how much we have to charge for that job. So the customer gets a rough estimate prior. They show up. If there's anything to check off, they check it off. They take a picture, maybe videos if necessary, send it off to me, and I'm the one that handles the interaction with the customer. So now the job is simpler. It's show up, do a checklist on an iPad, and then do a good job. Everything else is out of your hands. So that was the biggest game changer for me. And I'm planning to just replicate that system across the board with the next few hires. And that's how we're going to get to 50K per month.
Gotcha. So you already have the work to get to 50K. It's just the hiring.
Oh, easy. Easy. Yeah, that's always been the easy part ever since I was able to pick up the digital marketing side of things. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, dude, I've been in that exact situation twice where you have a bunch of work and you have guys just leave and it's just you.
Sucks. It's stressful.
The worst one, this one was crazy bad because there's really nothing I could do about it. I went on a 2-week vacation to Ireland. And while I was gone at the time, right before I left, I had a guy leave. So I was like, all right, for the 2 weeks, we're only doing one, like, it's just him. I'm going to dial it back. I'll work it out when I get back. And then while I was in Ireland, probably like the 5th day, I got a call from one of our customers that he just didn't show up. And I was like, that's weird. And it turned out that he had not shown up to any detail that whole week.
That was just the only customer that reached out. Jeez.
Yeah, that was just the only customer that I don't know how no customer, most of the time they call, obviously. And I called him, didn't answer, texted him, like didn't go through. He was just gone and he had the company van with him. So at this point, I'm calling like my dad who's still in town. And I'm like, I don't know where this guy is. He could steal the van. He could, just, I don't know. Like, I just had no communication with him.
Right.
So I called the cops, went to his house. He had the van. He was fine. Apparently he was super sick. Take it with with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Anyway, that guy no longer works for me, but I still had like another week in Ireland. So we just didn't do any jobs that second week. But that situation is tough. It's happened, again since then, or before then actually. But that's rough. You mentioned, you pay your guys hourly, right?
Hourly with commissions.
Okay. How does that work?
Yeah. So I know a lot of guys that'll pay commission only, like 20, 30% of jobs. And a lot of times it's hard to find people that will do that. Smart people will work on commissions because you get paid to perform, not paid to show up. That's what smart people will do. But most people that are looking for regular, like physical labor jobs, they don't think that way. So you want to provide them some level of security. So this is your hourly rate. We start at 15 an hour, which is super low for physical work outside, but commissions end up getting them to about 70 to 80,000 per year.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah. So it ends up being 15 an hour. When they learn certain skill sets, it ups their hourly rate. So people that can do ceramic coatings make more than people that can't, right? And then commission is based on how many cars you can do per day on average, right? So if you can do 2 to 3 cars a day, you get more commission than if you're only doing 1 to 2 a day. And that's on average, because obviously some days it's going to be, you're doing an $800 interior detail and that takes all day. That's 1 car, but yeah, so it averages out. And then tips are phenomenal. I'm sure they are across the board in the industry, but at least in this area of town, they're nice. They're really good.
Yeah, the tips are pretty solid normally around here. I mean, we have we stick to our nicer neighborhoods typically, but I mean, there are some days when like the neighborhood my guy went today, it was kind of out there. Not a bad side of town, just kind of rural.
Yeah.
What's the commission? If you give them 15 an hour, what's the commission? My guys are on only commission.
Okay. So I've got, it's 2% commission to start, like you're fresh. And then it goes to 5%, and then 8% is the highest. But there's a ×2 multiplier on any sort of upsell or really anything else that needs to be done. So if you show up and it's a $250 job and there's pet hair, the kids have made a mess, whatever, and you go through your checklist successfully and take pictures, and then I end up re-quoting the customer, then it's a ×2 multiplier on the whole job, right? So they didn't have to sell. They didn't have to say, hey, it's going to be $350 instead of $250. It just incentivizes them to go through the system to make it easier on themselves, make it easier on me, the customer. It just about incentivizing them to do the things that make everything more streamlined. What's your percentage?
Yeah, so my guys start off at 25% commission, and then for every month they stay on, or every 2 months they stay on, they get another percent until they hit 30, and then we cap it at 30.
Okay. Do you have anything to incentivize performance beyond 30%?
I haven't had a guy stay on long enough, honestly. I implemented that after my guy who'd been with me for over a year, who was just by far my best employee. He ended up having to leave. He moved, but I implemented that the percentage raise thing. I would just kind of raise it according to how you were doing and how I was feeling. But I implemented that right after he left. Haven't had a guy make it that long, but I have thought about that, some kind of incentive past that, but hasn't come to that yet.
How many guys do you have right now?
I've got one now,
Okay.
looking for a second one, doing interviews right now.
Fantastic. Do you run crews of one or crews of two?
Crews of one.
Crews of one. So do you have multiple trucks then?
So we have one van. I was going to ask you about this too. We have one van, water generator, everything.
Yeah.
Our second, and we've had a third guy before last summer. Like normally we pick up around this time. Second guy comes on, and then probably in another 2 months or so, we add a third guy for part-time kind of.
Okay.
But the other two guys just use their personal vehicles, and I pay them mileage,
Gotcha.
which
Okay.
saves a lot of costs, obviously, insurance, maintenance, and stuff like that. I was going to ask, do you think it's worth it to have another van personally? I mean, I know detailers who do it both ways, but I found that, especially when you lose employees, it's in our industry, it goes up and down hiring wise.
Yeah, it does. At that point, it's just a cost benefit analysis. So for me, I've put van number 2. So the first van's paid off. That's cash. The second van is on finance. I think it's like $360 per month. So it's not too bad. With insurance and whatnot, it comes out to like in the 400s. So I've had to put it in storage for a period of time, and it really doesn't hurt that bad, right? You can eat that cost for the most part, especially when, like, for example, when I had to drop back to one schedule and it was just me, your profitability just shoots through the roof by not having employees.
Yeah.
So that didn't bother me at all. Now it is quite smart to just be able to ramp up in accordance with how many employees you have and have them put the right equipment in their vehicle. Long-term strategy though, just for company image, it makes more sense to have company vehicles on standby. I guess it all depends, because I mean, I've seen exactly what you said. I've seen detailers do it both ways, and I've seen them be successful both ways. I've also seen detailers that'll have people use their personal vehicles, but they've got a magnet for the car or whatever.
Yeah,
Is that what y'all do?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super professional, but at least it's not just a random car rolling up on your driveway.
Yeah. And I found when I was detailing out of my mom's car when I started, I found customers didn't really care. They
Yeah.
might have been a little skeptical when you first pull up, but if you're confident and the work turns out good, there's nothing else to worry about, really.
Yeah.
I would err on the side of company vehicles, but it all depends on how much cost you're willing to incur in the event that people quit.
How's it been with maintenance on the van so far? How long you just got the van last year, right?
Yeah, so our first one's coming up on 1 year. The other one was September of last year. The one that I bought last March we bought it used. Both of them are used. This was a 2015. So we bought it knowing that there was some maintenance that needed to be done on it as soon as we bought it. So other than what we had to do when we first bought it, it hasn't been too bad. So I bought it for 13,500. It had 150,000 miles on it. Ford Transit Connect, which is, I mean, that's high mileage. It's a Ford, so little concerning. But it was in phenomenal shape. We just had to get some basic stuff replaced on the internal components. So engine, transmission, everything fine. We just had to get brakes replaced, that sort of thing. And then it did have some issues in, I think, end of last year. The oil pan started leaking, and that was like 1,500. Not the end of the world. It's to be expected with a a cheaper older van. The
Yeah.
other one that we bought is a 2021, so it's much newer, much lower mileage. That's the one that's on finance.
A Ford?
Yeah, also a Transit Connect. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a Transit Connect as well. Ours is 2012, so a little older.
Wow. Okay.
And I got it used as well. I mean, this was like 3 years ago. I think we paid $7,000. I paid just all cash. But we've had to do some maintenance, dude. The thing is
On a 2012, yeah.
eating money. It was a new engine, new transmission.
Really? Oh, that's bad. Did you know going into it that it was going to be that way?
No, the engine seized up. So what happened was the oil leaked, a line broke or something. So the oil just was not in the engine. So it fused together. The engine seized up. So, and that it just broke down one day randomly. And then,
Right.
oh, dude, new engine, new transmission. Just recently, the flywheel that connects the engine to the transmission broke. That was 1,500. And it wasn't under warranties of either one. So, I mean, there's always something, but in my head, I'm just like, and it is a 2012, so it is older. So it's going to come now. I'm at the point now, it's got brand new, almost everything in it.
You might as well keep it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm going to keep it as long as it runs, but that's part of why I'm hesitant to get another company van. It's just, and also, I mean, if I can do it with other, like with their vehicles and I just pay them, keep track of the miles and pay them for the mileage, it's easily, obviously easier to scale that way, and cheaper is my thought process. Do you know Alan from Go Detail?
Yes, I've spoken with Alan.
Gotcha. Yeah. He was one that was telling me to kind of err on the side of caution with company vans. I know he has a few of them, but he said if he was doing it again, this would have been, last year or maybe the year before that. That's kind of where I got the idea. This was before I had a second guy, I think. Because I was thinking about getting another company van. He was like, just do it with, their personal vehicles and pay a mileage. That's where originally I got the idea.
Gotcha. One thing that you can do is just opt for a newer one and get it on finance.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of using other people's money for the business, right? Robert Kiyosaki, I'm sure you're familiar with him. He says that poor people will spend other people's money on stuff that doesn't make them money, and rich people will spend other people's money on the stuff that makes them money, right?
Yeah.
So assets versus liabilities. I'm not afraid of debt. I'm really not.
Yeah. So you mentioned the $1,500 a month you're paying in SEO. Is that all the market? I mean, that can't be all the marketing you're doing. Are you doing some other stuff too?
That's it.
Really?
That's it.
That's awesome, dude.
That
So the
is it.
ongoing 1,500 for SEO, what are they doing? Just like posting blog posts and stuff like that?
No, no.
So
It's
why is it
yeah.
ongoing?
Yeah, it's ongoing because we're constantly, part of my strategy has been constantly adding out new pages
Okay.
and updating stuff based on trends in the market. Yeah. So I mean that is the only marketing that I have done, with the exception of Google Ads. When I first bought the second van, I ran a Google Ads campaign just to kickstart 2 full schedules, and then once that leveled out, I switched back to just SEO. So our marketing spend has been $1,500 a month for a long time now, and it's been returning, 10 to 15x.
Yeah, dude, that's sweet. Keeping your marketing lean is smart. I just recently did some SEO work last November or December. And I know it takes a few months to for Google to crawl the sites and stuff, but I'm hoping that, we seek a return on that here soon.
It takes it's a solid, on the low end 2 to 3 months, far end 6 months.
Yeah.
But it's a long-term play. I don't tell beginners to hop on with SEO. I tell them to hop on with Google Ads.
Yeah. And we still do a little bit of Google Ads. We never really spent a ton on it. Because we do a lot of, we get a lot of business from Google business listings.
Yeah.
We get a lot of business. But we always have, a trickle of Google Ads going. In terms of like kind of your revenue, break it down in terms of regular detailing to ceramic coatings. You mentioned you do some ceramic coatings.
We do some, like 1 to 2 a month right now. It's a very small portion of what we do. And the funny part is, I tell people how much we do with details, and they assume that a decent amount of that's going to be ceramic coatings, but no, we just book out with details a lot. The most ceramic coatings we've done in 1 month was probably like 6. Which is not bad. I've got 2 in the pipeline. There's a customer today that agreed to book 2 ceramic coatings for brand new Teslas that they just bought. So that'll hopefully get booked for next month or the month after. So that'll be, an extra $2,000-3,000. But overall, it's mostly just details. And our ceramic coatings primarily come from customers that have used us in the past that say, hey, just bought a brand new car, let's get it coated. We have coatings listed on our website, but I don't push them very hard. Because there's not as much volume, not as much search volume for ceramic coatings as there is for detailing.
Yeah. Yeah, we recently just started pushing ceramic coatings before my second guy left. Now I'm just, picking up the slack until I find a second guy. And then my main
Yeah.
focus is going to be on ceramic coatings. Just because you could double your revenue, with ceramic coatings alone.
Yeah.
We've done 3 in the past week and a half. So, it's working.
Wow.
I think we can pick it up. I don't see why we couldn't just keep doing it like this, but main thing is just my time. Right now I'm working detailing until I find a second guy. So that's going to be our main focus this year, or my main focus this year is on ceramic coatings. But yeah, we didn't put any focus on ceramic coatings pretty much up until now, except for the random, trickle in customer that wants one here and there. How do you find your employees?
So this is, like I said, there's a reason most detailers are so low. This is my least favorite part of it, is dealing with managing people. So I don't like putting out random job listings on Craigslist, Facebook, what have you. It just drives me crazy having to take phone calls from people that are very unprofessional. I remember I put up a Facebook ad. I put money behind it last year, and I would just get the dumbest messages, like people not even introducing them. Like you'd expect that they would say, "Hey, my name is, whatever, and I'm looking for a job." But no, they would just message you the most out of pocket stuff. So at this point, it's pretty much just reserved to friends of friends, or just acquaintances, people that I can connect the dots with. Never hire friends. That one's rough. I've done that before. But for the most part, it's just acquaintances, people that I can connect the dots with from various relationships.
I see. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of tough to scale that way. Eventually you're gonna run out of friends.
At some point. Yeah. At some point.
Yeah, I started hiring through Indeed. That's where I found like my first few people.
Okay.
And then I started using Facebook. And you do find, you got to deal with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like I got a message today. The first word was yo.
Oh,
So,
I've gotten that too.
I was like, all right, out. I can normally tell now. I've done so many phone interviews, like, intro calls. Within the first couple minutes, I can kind of know if this is going to go any further or not. Just based on how they're talking and background noise and professionalism.
Yep.
But it is tough, dude. That is the hardest part. And it becomes the most important part once you figured out how to get customers. Like
Absolutely.
have customers coming in. Now you just need to go find people to do it. And that becomes your main job, that and managing them once they're hired. But it's tough. That's the toughest thing. Most detailers don't get to that point where
No, they don't.
they need to hire, and that becomes their bottleneck. But once you hit it, it's a tough one.
It's a very hard bottleneck. Yeah.
And I think it's tough partly because I just came to this conclusion because a couple people said they didn't think it was going to be enough money. And with our commission-based pay, I can give them a ballpark of what they make, right? Which the hourly is interesting. I'm definitely going to think about that. But it's because I see a bunch of there's a billion lawn care companies everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got crews of like 6 guys. And I'm thinking that's the same thing. Like that's manual labor. Why can they find?
Well, they charge less per job.
Yeah. And they have more people and they pay them hourly, but they just have tons of jobs.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking maybe it's just, I can't pay enough to get good people, like good, reliable people. And then I just go back and forth in terms of how do you even solve that?
You raise your prices and then customers run away.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with business is realizing that every single element of your business is selfish. The employees are selfish, your customers are selfish, and you're selfish. And it's not a negative thing. Your employees want the least amount of hours with the most pay. Your customers want the most convenient, the best service with the cheapest price. And you want the biggest bottom dollar.
Yeah.
It's just how it works. So that's the biggest bottleneck across the board. That statement can summarize really any problem that you have in business. It's just figuring out how to meet everybody's selfish needs and compromise between the three.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I just, I guess I want to talk a little bit about your personal brand. When did you start doing YouTube and stuff?
First video was posted probably February of last year, and that was just some like dumb how-to whatever that my SEO company told me that I needed to post to promote the business. And then you quickly realize with personal brand as a detailer that it has nothing to do with attracting local customers. It has everything to do with helping other detailers. Because if you post a reel on Instagram about we made a certain amount per day. Here's what we did. Here's the ceramic coating, whatever. You're not getting local customers that are watching that. That's rare. I've never had a local customer book off of Instagram. I get it on Facebook just because mutual friends, but on Instagram, never. But when I started taking my personal brand seriously was August of last year. August of last year. Yeah.
And what made you start doing that?
So are you familiar with Jordan Welsh? You know who he is?
I know that name, but why do I know that name?
Yeah, so he's a YouTube entrepreneur. Initially got his come up in
Okay.
e-commerce. Yeah,
Okay.
and now
Yeah.
his whole thing is he runs around making videos with different people, showing their businesses, that sort of thing. He's got over 1 million on YouTube. But I had a call with him in February of last year, so we're coming full circle. And he told me, get as good at what you're doing as possible with the detailing business. And then from there, build a personal brand and teach other people to do the same. So February of last year, I said, that's what I'm going to do. I was making 5,000 per month at that point. Got better at detailing, got better at marketing, pushed. By summer, had a van, had an employee, automated that process, got them to the point where they were out running by themselves. And then I started diving headfirst into personal brand, following exactly what he said to do. And it's played out beautifully.
Yeah, dude. So you have some kind of monetization on that? Like you have
Yes.
a coaching course or something?
No, so I don't offer a course and I never will. I believe more in one-on-one interaction. And I also don't believe in offering one-on-one phone calls for a fee because now you're trading your time for money again.
Yeah.
So instead, we have a group program. I say program's super loose.
Yeah.
We do calls once every single Sunday with our guys inside the group. It's called the Driven Elite. So it's a group mastermind. We meet every single Sunday. Everybody's in there chopping it up throughout the week. And then I give exclusive resources to the guys inside of there. So I've got connections, people that are willing to offer marketing services for discounted rates to the guys in the group, some for free. Recently got a couple guys on board with a guy that was offering SEO for a month for free, just like setup and that sort of thing. And then we're also going to be hosting an in-person mastermind in Austin, Texas on a baller lake house this May for the guys. So exclusive to the members of our group.
That's sick, dude. All those guys are finding you through YouTube or
Yeah.
social media.
YouTube or Instagram.
That's sick. Yeah. So, I mean, I just started making YouTube videos. I guess it's kind of a personal brand. It's not under my name. It's under like the brand name,
Yeah.
but I kind of went at it backwards where I know I want to make money from it. Honestly,
Yeah.
detailing, not a passion of mine. Like that's why I hired an employee so quickly after I graduated, because I love entrepreneurship and business. I just learned to detail cars to make money.
Me too.
So
Same story.
it's like I don't love detailing cars. I like making money. And like while I was out detailing, I'm just, I'm listening to podcasts and stuff, kind of similar to like the Jordan Welsh advice. Sell what you know how to do. I know how to do detailing, how to grow a detailing business. So I kind of went down that same path and I've tweaked it. I've done one-on-one for high ticket for a few people and it was all right. Just hard. A lot of beginner detailers just don't have money to pay for high ticket stuff.
Because detailing attracts a certain kind of person.
Yeah. And so then I'm like, okay, how do I help the most amount of people? Got to lower the price to make the entry better. So then I started thinking about a monthly membership. So that's where I'm at now. I have like a monthly membership course program, whatever you want to call it. There is some video training, but also there's weekly live Q&A calls. We actually did one right before this at 5. But I've got a handful of guys in there and they're all pretty beginners. A couple of them are part-time because they just can't find work. But that's kind of where I found that's kind of where I'm focusing my time now after I get the second employee going. And I watched some of your YouTube videos. That's why I reached out to you. It's just like this guy is doing some good stuff. I saw you posted one today. I didn't have time to watch all of it because it was right before this.
No worries.
I caught like the first 5 minutes, but I saw you kind of widen the scope of your video out for that one. It was more business advice in general.
Yeah,
You
and it's
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was at that video is sitting at 1 of 10 for all of our YouTube stuff, and it's more general, more broad. So what I'm finding is the detailing community is getting tired of only hearing about detailing. But at the same time, my piece of advice to you would be dive into those affiliate offers if you can find them. Get relationships with brands. That was the first way that I monetized my YouTube, was finding brands and then just doing affiliate offers. And it's I don't even take the same approach that guys like Pan the Organizer do, where they'll have, do a product review. I think it's a really bad way to do it because all those videos end up the exact same. You look at Pan the Organizer, no disrespect to him, I like his videos, but he's got almost 1 million followers and his videos consistently get what, 10, 20,000 views. That's not great. So product reviews are not a good way to do it because it's hyper specific on a specific kind of product. The best way to do affiliate offers is, I've got one video that's sitting at like 150,000 views, and it's everything you need for interior detailing. That video printed off of affiliate links, absolutely printed, because it's a broad enough topic that enough people are searching for it, and then it gets specific about all the details once you actually open up the video. So yeah, product reviews are a really bad way to do it unless you're a massive name. And even then, like I said, Pan the Organizer hardly getting any views for the size of his audience. So the best way to really jumpstart it is make a broad video about a specific area of the vehicle that you're working on, and have an energetic personality too. Don't open the video with, once again, Pan the Organizer, great example of what not to do for a lot of things. Once again, no disrespect to him, but his videos are very slow paced. Huh?
He's been doing it for a long time, so it's just
For a while.
compounded.
Yeah.
I mean, you do YouTube for a long enough time, it's gonna grow.
It's going to grow. Yeah, no, and he's successful. He's got a Porsche, beautiful car. I like his videos. I do watch them, but he definitely appeals to an older audience, right? People that are willing to sit down and watch a 20-minute, hardly edited review of a specific product. I took the Mr. Beast style for some of my videos in that style, which is super fast paced. I mean, if you click on my video about interior detailing that did so well, I open up by jumping out of my van and running toward the camera, being like, yeah, all right, you want to know how professional detailers get the best results? Boom, it cuts, quick transitions, that sort of thing. Because at this point, the old are leaving. The people that used to detail are retiring, or they're old, or they only did it as weekend warriors, and they're super religious about how to clean a car, and they think that there's only one way to do it. And then you have the new generation coming in, which is guys like you and I that say, well, I want to try entrepreneurship. Detailing seems like a good way to do it. And what are we used to? We're used to watching more entertaining forms of content. So that would be my biggest advice to you, to really dial in affiliate offers and do it in an entertaining and more broad way rather than getting hyper specific and doing reviews.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote that down while you were talking. Dang, I had a question there. Forgot what it was going to be. Well, whatever. But yeah, man, super. Is there anything I didn't ask that you wanted to talk about? I mean, you can plug like, your social medias and stuff, your YouTube channel.
Yeah, YouTube is Hudson Archer Auto Detailing. Instagram is at HUD_Archer. Go ahead and follow me on both those platforms. I answer every DM on Instagram. It's getting very difficult at this point, but I still make time every single day to scroll through them and answer as many questions as I can for free. So if you guys are interested in starting, growing, wherever you're at in the detailing business, plug in with me. I'll get you covered.
Yeah. And then Driven Elite, is that something open to just any detailer?
Yeah, the Driven Elite is open. I recommend sending me a DM prior to joining. That way I can get to know you a little bit better and see if you're a good fit for what we do.
Awesome, man. I think super crazy. I mean, you're 17, so you're in high school.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So you still have another year? Are you a senior?
Yeah, so I'm a junior right now, but I went homeschooled 2 years ago for an online program, and I did dual enrollment until today. I dropped out of the college classes, so college is off the table at this point. I say dropped out. I got kicked out because I wasn't doing my stuff. But I have a couple of high school classes left, and I'm gonna nail those out this spring, and then we're done.
Awesome, man. And you can really dive in.
Oh, absolutely. I've already been doing it. I mean, school's an afterthought. It's like I'll get, a month or two behind, and then I'll hop on for a weekend and just cram it.
Yeah. Yeah. School doesn't make you any money.
Oh, it doesn't. No,
That's
it
kind of
doesn't
where
at
I
all.
was at my last semester of college. After basketball's over, I have no incentive to go to. I had to go to class to play basketball. As soon as the season ended, I was like, I got 3 more months here. I can go to this whatever psychology class, or I could go make $500 today. Easy, no
Which is
brainer.
it's more than your professor made that day
Yeah,
yapping with a whiteboard, you know.
no
Uh,
brainer.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome, man. I think what you're doing is really impressive, especially at your age.
Appreciate it.
I'll be keeping up, obviously, with your stuff on YouTube, and probably send you some emails or anything if I find anything with hiring that's working, um, or ceramic coatings or anything. But feel free to reach out if you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my personal number in the chat here. That way you can reach out to me via there. So if you just shoot me a text, say your name, I'll save your contact and we can stay plugged in. Let's see. There you go.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll edit that out if that pops up in the real video.
Yeah, just knock it out. Is this going on YouTube or where do you post?
I'll post it on the podcast, obviously, and then I'll probably post it on YouTube as well. Um, the YouTube is Six Figure Auto Detailer, kind of playing around with the name right now. It'll probably go under there because you're a detailer.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, I'll send you the link and everything. I'll probably clip it up for social media as well, and I
For
can
sure.
send you some of those too if you want
Please
those.
do.
But yeah, dude, it's awesome talking to you.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, here it is. Got it. It's a picture of a red Lamborghini on your page.
Yeah. As
Okay,
the
cool.
profile pic.
Yeah, see it here. What's your viewership looking like?
Honestly, we just started consistently posting. You can see it on there. Let me see. Well, I got a lot of videos that aren't live. A couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, max. I guess. Oh, well, so November 7th, I posted my first one, and then posted a couple more in November, one in December, one in January, and then in February, I picked it up. I was like, all right, I got to do this weekly. So
Awesome.
I made like a, promise to myself. I was like, I'm going to do 100 videos. And if it doesn't pick up after 100 videos, or I don't like where it's going, I'll pivot then. Because I think as an entrepreneur, I don't know if everybody has this, but I think most of us do. It's kind of a trait entrepreneurs have, just like shiny object syndrome. It's like, ooh, that's a good business idea. Maybe I should do that instead. I have to like really rein myself in. Always have. Like in high school, I started a handful of like companies with friends and stuff. And then like, they'd go for a couple months, we'd make a little money. And then one of them would, just
Try
not
the next thing.
Yeah, next thing. And that was probably the first lesson I learned in entrepreneurship was partnering up. Like you got to be really careful with business partners, especially, I mean, they were just like friends in high school. And I was like, hey, you want to do this? It was always my idea. And then they'd be like, yeah, sure. And then
they would get disinterested after a while. Yeah. It's your idea. It's your vision. Yeah. We
and
almost merged. Oh, go ahead.
After they bail, I just kind of be like, maybe I'll do something else. I don't know. So I made a promise to myself with this. It's like, all right, 100 videos, and then I'll call it after that.
There you go. And by 100 videos, like you said, with YouTube, you be consistent with it. Something's going to pop up at some point. So I guarantee you'll probably still be doing it after that. But you're right on business partners. I've got a video about it that I posted last October. When I had the employee crash last year, I almost partnered up with another detailer and we started moving in the direction of forming our businesses together. And that lasted for about a week. And then I realized that it was a terrible idea. He told me to delete every single video on my YouTube channel because I was going to embolden the competition to start their own businesses. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. Sorry. And now my content portion of the business is making more money per month than he makes as a whole. So I made the right decision, which is, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'd say that's not bad. I mean, viewership's it's about as I expected.
So one thing that you'll find is it's not always about viewership. It's about the density of your viewership.
Yeah.
It's about how invested in the brand they are for you. That's why the videos I've been posting lately are a little bit less fast paced. Like the one I posted today took me about 30 minutes to film. It took me some time to script out and edit and that sort of thing, but it's sit down. It's just advice, but it builds density. Have you heard of Jack Hopkins on YouTube?
I don't think so.
Okay. There's this guy, Jack Hopkins. He's from England, but he lives in Thailand, and he's like a self-improvement fitness YouTuber type of thing. But he only recently hit 150,000 subscribers. But even when he was at like 70, 80,000 subscribers, his personal brand was doing over 100K a month just because of density. And it wasn't even from ad revenue. It was from the stuff that he was selling. So a lot of times it's density. It's not even about how many eyeballs you get. It's how invested are the people that do see you in what you have to offer.
Yeah, it's like the 100 true fans.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome, man. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to ask you about.
Those are great questions.
But awesome, man. It was fun. Hey, I hope you all got a lot out of that interview. Hudson, really impressive kid. He's doing a lot, especially for his age. It's just super impressive how big he's grown. And he's going to continue to grow, especially with his mindset. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.